We all know the unspoken rule in the Invincible Universe. The Viltrumites are the apex predators. Their biological supremacy, flight, subliminal travel, invulnerability, and planetary scale strengths set the gold standards for combat throughout the whole galaxy. Let's strip them out of the equation, and suddenly, power hierarchy, it changes drastically. I'm Kai the Comic Guy, and today, we're ranking the major non-Viltrumite characters into 7 distinct levels, using what I call combat efficiency rating. Strike Force. Can you actually hurt Smart Atom Enhanced Physiology? And for those that don't know, what that means is, can you make a Viltrumite bleed? Durability. Can you survive what the apex predators dish out? Versatility. What combat skill and powers do you have that bypass conventional defenses? And for my show only watchers, fair warning, some of these characters might look a little bit different just because of the comic references I'll be using. Stick around for tier 4. Let's get into it, the street level threats. We'll be blitzing through the bottom tier because frankly these characters exist just to establish a scale. The Momo Twins, physically strong enough to lift tanks and trade blows with their original Guardians, but they're routinely defeated by Invincible. He doesn't really bring much of a sweat. Their durability is high, but finite, genius level intellect, but that doesn't always help when someone can move faster than you think. The Reaniman, D.A. Sinclair's cyberneurotic drones. A single Reaniman can pressure an early series mark, make it work a little bit, but they feel no pain and they fight until they're destroyed. But later in the series, characters can tear through them by the dozens. Their strength lies in numbers. They're a horde level threat. Individually, not so dangerous. Level 2, city level threats. These characters are powerful by Earth standards, but if they were to be involved in a cosmic war against Viltrum, they will be meat shields essentially. They do have a potent offensive output, defensively pretty vulnerable. Let's start off with Titan. The official handbook describes his rock form as possessing superhuman resistance to impact, along with temperature and pressure extremes. He took over Machine Head's organization by simply being tough to kill. Here's a crucial part. He required assistance to handle battle beasts, and he can't really compete with the Guardian's heavy hitters. A city level kingpin, but not a planetary defender. The Shapesmith. The Martian's physiology lets him alter density and shape, allowing him to warp around targets to avoid damage. Martians can temporarily restrain Viltrumites, which is significant. At their core, there is a critical weakness. Damage to the core can mean certain death. Versatility as a spy maybe, or support fighter, they lack the finishing power to compete with the apex predators. Next up, Black Samson. Black Samson's strength ranges anywhere from 20 to 60 tons range. Electrical discharges for range utility makes him pretty useful. Experience as a field leader, nothing to brush off. Sufficient for mid-level tier villains, insufficient for Viltrumites. Last and not least is one of my favorite characters in Invincible, that's gonna be the Rexplode. In the show, I get it, he's a jerk and he kind of throws explosive coins around and he can be a little bit annoying at times, though his ranking is solidified by a single feat. During the Invincible War, when 20 evil alternate Invincibles invaded Earth, Rex charges his own skeleton, so essentially his bones became a bomb. He creates a massive explosion that's enough to kill an Invincible variant outright. This move, suicide, but it proves he has potential output to kill a Viltrumite, which is important in this ranking. Only once, and it did cost him his life. Under normal circumstances, explosions could cause building level destruction, but skeleton feat, that's level 1 energy compressed into a single moment, which is why Rex sits comfortably at level 2. If you don't agree, let me know why. If you haven't already, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe so we can continue to make content for you. We appreciate the support. Thank you. Level 3, the strategic assets. These are the elite supports, entities that possess one highly specialized attribute: indestructibility, dimensional travel, along with kinetic absorption. That makes them dangerous, but they lack the power sets to essentially fight a Viltrumite solo. Let's start off with Brit. Here's a character show-only watchers need to know. Brit's skin, eyes, and internal organs are impervious to all forms of damage. He survived nuclear detonations, atmospheric re-entry, and direct strikes for Viltrumites without scratch. Pretty significant, right? There is a catch here. His offense output is limited to peak human strength. He cannot hurt a Viltrumite with his fists. He's ranked here because of his utility as a tactical shield. He can occupy a high tier threat simply by being unkillable. He's a distraction while the heavy hitters can land the damage. Angstorm Levy. Physically, enhanced enough to survive punches from Invincible and snap human bones, but his true danger is in his physical attributes. It's his environmental impact. He can transport opponents to hostile dimensions instantly, worlds with no atmosphere, even zombie wastelands. And against a non-flying opponent, he wins by default via battlefield removal. He's been able to summon 20 evil invincibles at once, and this is in reference to the Invincible War I mentioned earlier. But physically, his body remains vulnerable to speed blitzing. He lacks the reaction time to stop a serious Viltrumite from killing him, even before he can open a portal. High ceiling, though a pretty exploitable floor. Next up is Bulletproof. Often viewed as an invincible light, his physiology allows him to absorb kinetic energy and fly. He's durable enough to survive the Invincible War. Debates position him near the immortal level range, potentially higher blunt force resistance due to absorption, but less lifting strength and no millennial experience. These are all specialists, dangerous in their lane, but vulnerable outside of it. Level 4, the Heavy Hitters. This tier consists of entities with immense physical strength, enough to trade blows with Viltrumites, but typically lacks speed and skill or secondary powers to secure victory against one of the elites. They are the stalling force of the galaxy. The Immortal, closest Earth-level native equivalent to a Viltrumite. He has flight, speed, and immense strength. He has consistently engaged with Omni-Man and Invincible, though the Immortal suffers defeats. The damage he can dish out is real. His resurrection utility makes him a recurring strategic asset, a millennia of combat experience, having lived as a knight, Abraham Lincoln, and also a superhero. Though the caveat to his resurrection is, well, it requires his pieces to be reattached. If you were to scatter him across the universe, well, he's done. Next up is Monster Girl. Amanda's power is sometimes viewed as a curse. The younger she becomes physically, the larger and the more powerful her monster form grows. In her standard form, she lifts in excess of 60 tons and trades blows with all the heavy hitters. The cost, well, continuous use degrades her biological age. If Amanda continues to use her powers, though she grows more powerful, it could also cause her to no longer exist. As we move along within this level, Dinosaurus is next. David Anders transforms into a massive reptilian humanoid, whose strength is comparable to mid-series Invincible. But there is a distinction here. Unlike a mindless beast, Dinosaurus retains his genius-level intellect while transformed. He's able to crush Mark's arms with his bare hands. His claws and teeth are able to pierce Viltrumite skin, so he can be a lethal grappler. The Thrag killed him instantly, highlighting the gap between this level and the top. His tactical intelligence lets him create complex traps and no-win scenarios. The destruction of Las Vegas, for example. He uses his physical strengths to execute calculated plans, rather than mindless brawls. You can think of him as like a Timu Hulk with Dr. Doom's brain. Mr. Liu. Liu's human form is frail, and it's cybernetically sustained. He's the host for a massive mystical dragon. The dragon has held its own against Invincible and the Guardians. Mass sufficient enough to level villages. Teeth and claws capable of wounding resilient superhumans, even Viltrumites. But Liu's physical body remains unconscious and vulnerable while the dragon is active. If you're able to attack the body, then you're able to kill the dragon. And that's the critical tactical flaw, and one of the reasons why Liu stays at this level. This tier is well defined by beings who can survive Viltrumites, but cannot consistently kill them. Alrighty guys, as we enter our final stretch, the gap between level 4 and level 5 is significant. The biggest difference, well, it's between being able to survive a Viltrumite and actually killing one. The Ragnars. The Ragnars are non-sentient beasts evolved on a high-gravity planet. Their muscles were dense enough to tear through Viltrumite flesh. They were even used by the Coalition to injure Thrag. Individually, a Ragnar is a threat. In a pack, well, they can be catastrophic to Viltrumites. But their lack of flight and intelligence severely limits them. A flying opponent can orbit and exterminate them, nullifying their melee lethality. Robot, also known as Rex. He isn't the strongest, but he is the smartest. His threat level derives from his ability to analyze, identify, and exploit specific biological weaknesses in Viltrumites in regards to their equilibrium vulnerability. His final suits are constructed from advanced alloys, likely volcanic tempered titanium and proprietary Coalition metals, offering resistance to Viltrumite strikes. Deployed in massive drone swarms controlled by a singular consciousness, destroy one unit, the swarm adapts. But what makes these units lethal are their sonic resonance weaponry. These devices project a specific frequency that destabilize the Viltrumite's inner ear mechanisms, incapacitating pain and loss of flight and vertigo. This tech has allowed Robot to neutralize Mark Grayson and also checkmate the entire Viltrumite population on Earth. He's done things like held their children hostage and threatened industrialized execution. As we enter the next season, Robot is still your helpful teammate. In the comics, he becomes one of the most effective dictators in superhero fiction, so keep watching. Eve is theoretically the most powerful being in the universe. Her ranking at level 5 reflects her functional combat state, though we have to acknowledge that she does have level 6 potential under specific trauma conditions. Eve essentially controls matter at a subatomic level. She doesn't need to punch a target. She can turn the air into granite, glass, or even superheated plasma. Her constructs momentarily restrain Viltrumites, but the mental blocks prevent direct transmutation of living animal matter. She can't just turn opponents' blood into lead, unlikely until she's dying. In this unlocked state, she's damage height to Viltrumites like Conquest by flailing their skin with energy constructs, bypassing her vulnerability entirely. She does have significant limitations, such as the caloric burn when using her powers. Massive transmutation requires immense energy, leading to rapid depletion. Prolonged combat also exhausts her. Tech Jacket is considered one of the most powerful weapons in the galaxy, explicitly banned by the Viltrumites due to the threat level it poses on their rule. The suit grants strength conventionally cited as 100 times natural capacity, but records suggest that the scaling is exponential based on the host, so their fitness really matters and also the suit's maturity. By the end of the series, Tech Jacket fights multiple Viltrumites simultaneously, serving as a frontline heavy hitter in the Viltrumite War. The armor is nearly indestructible. It adapts to damage in real time, manages all life support, and generates energy weaponry capable of hurting elite Viltrumites. As an executive grade, Zachary possesses the most advanced version, greater autonomy and power output versus the standard Galdarian infantry. He comfortably defeats standard Viltrumite soldiers and hybrid clones. Within this level, guys, these are the Viltrumite killers. Specific conditions required, but when those requirements are met, these guys can be lethal. Level 6, the transcendent threats. Everyone within level 6 has the verified capacity to engage, overwhelm, and even possibly terminate the elite Viltrumites. That includes Dragon Conquest. They shift the balance of the galaxy simply by existing. First up, Space Racer. He's a guy on a space bike. Sounds ridiculous, but he's got a gun, and it's pretty peak. The weapon bonded to the Space Racer is arguably the most potent offensive weapon in the known universe. Its beam doesn't merely inflict thermal damage, it creates a destabilization effect that ignores conventional durability metrics. What that means is it shreds through a bunch of smart atoms, guys. So all Viltrumites are on the menu. The beam creates an uninterrupted path of destruction, piercing stars, planets, and Viltrumites with ease. It has been documented shooting through asteroids and initiating chain reactions that destroy entire asteroid belts. This forces even the Grand Regent Thrag to treat the Space Racer with extreme caution, prioritizing invasion over engagement. But while his offense is level 6 tier, his defense is another story. He survived the punch from Thrag and being buried under rubble for a century. Superhuman durability far beyond human limits. His survival relies on him not being critically hit, so he's a high risk, high reward asset. If he shoots you, well, you die. That's it. Alan was created as a desperate countermeasure against the Viltrumite Empire. His power progression follows a hyperbolic curve dictated by physical trauma. His physiology utilizes reactive adaptation, reconstructing cellular density, muscle fiber efficiency, and or reaction times after near lethal encounters. Let's look at this in stages. So stage 1, Alan was capable of spaceflight, and he had immense strength, but subordinate to standard Viltrumites, easily defeated by Omni-Man. Let's look at stage 2, after he recovered from his first lethal encounter. His power level spiked to rival even standard elites, demonstrated by his capacity to physically overpower Omni-Man, which was previously impossible. Finally, stage 3. At the end of the series, Alan was one of the few beings capable of withstanding the vacuums of space indefinitely, and even trading blows with the strongest Viltrumites while withstanding critical damage. He had experienced a near-death induced biological boost, which had him evolve into near invulnerability. Unlike Battle Beast, Alan values survival and objective completion over glory. His telepathic capabilities allow squad-level coordination in the vacuum of space. So how do you feel about Space Racer and Alan within these rankings? Well, these two are classified as Thrag-level threats. They pose a risk to taking the mightiest of the Viltrumites down, and that's significant. We have arrived to level 7, the Apex, also known as the God Killers. Battle Beast is the undisputed king. So how did Battle Beast become this strong? Well, he evolved on a planet consumed by perpetual warfare. He had to survive in environments totally saturated in combat and death. He doesn't fight for conquest or ideology. He fights to satisfy a psychological addiction to battle against superior foes. Kind of reminds me of Goku in that way. His strength is categorized as a multi-planetary and combat application. The definitive evidence of why Battle Beast is in his tier is he fought Thrag for multiple days continuously. This demonstrates a cardiovascular and a metabolical efficiency that exceeds the standard Viltrumite genome. Viltrumites can hold their breath for weeks. In terms of high-intensity combat, well, their battles conclude in a matter of minutes, mostly due to how lethal some of the blows are. Battle Beast maintained peak output for days, even under duress, even while intentionally injuring himself, which eventually led to his death. He basically doesn't stop peak output until he's entirely dead. His claws and fangs naturally are able to penetrate Viltrumite flesh, a feat few species can claim. When he dismantled the Guardians of the Globe, he treated the engagement as beneath his notice. So what weaknesses does he actually have? Well, his distinct lack of versatility and tactical prudence. No range energy projection or flight, relies incredibly on leaping ability or technology. No regenerative factors either. But his raw stats are so overwhelmingly high, these densities rarely manifest as liabilities. His X factor is his rigid code of honor. His willingness to handicap himself, gutting himself to ensure a fair fight, makes him strategically unpredictable, but susceptible to manipulation by pragmatic opponents who don't share his same warrior code ethos. Battle Beast is as strong as non-viltrumite in the Invincible Universe, and that is all. What's up guys, I'm Kai the Comic Guy, and today we're going to discuss the Viltrumite hierarchy and find out who is the strongest Viltrumite. See, Viltrumites aren't just angry supermen. They actually have an actual biological system that explains why a 2,000-year-old warrior can literally rip apart a 200-year-old soldier, just like tissue paper. Once you understand that system, the power scaling actually makes sense. Today I'm breaking down a complete 7-level Viltrumite hierarchy. We're going from cannon fodder all the way up to 2 beings who can fight on the surface of the sun. Trust me, the gap between these levels, they're not linear, they're exponential. Quick note before we dive in, just like Marvel Comics, Invincible has inconsistent power scaling, sometimes based off narrative needs. Robert Kirkman himself has admitted that the story comes first. Here's how we're ranking these powerhouses. I call it the 3-factor Viltrumite analysis. Factor 1. What's the maximum destructive capability that they've demonstrated? We're talking planetary destruction, faster than light travel, that kind of thing. No hypotheticals, only what they've actually done on panel to panel. Factor 2. Durability limit. How much punishment can this Viltrumite take? Does it actually hurt them permanently? Some Viltrumites walk off getting disemboweled, while others, well, they get one-shotted. That gap tells us everything. Factor 3. Combat dominance. The win-loss ratio against peer-level opponents. Context matters here. A sneaky attack doesn't weigh as much as a fair fight. When a ranking gets close, I'm going to use combat versatility as a tiebreaker, such as range of tactical options, fighting experiences, and also special techniques. Now before we rank these individuals, you need to understand why some Viltrumites are much stronger than others. As promised, I'm going to break that down for you. Alright, so let's talk Viltrumite biology, because this isn't just a comic book pseudoscience. There's actually an internal logic here. It pretty much explains everything. Viltrumite physiology is built on something I call smart atoms. They are the atomic structure capable of variable energy states, and also low density manipulation, unlike us humans, running on ATP and chemical energy. Viltrumites run and interact directly with the background universal energy fields. But here's how that works in practice. Flight, they're not just pushing against the air or using propulsion. They're subconsciously manipulating the inertia of their own atomic structures relative to the space around them. That's why a coalition of sonic weapons are so devastating. They disrupt the inner ear's equilibrium centers, which prevents the smart atoms from actually orienting themselves correctly. Durability, it's active, it's not passive. Their atoms literally lock up in high density configurations upon impact. That's how Viltrumites can fly to planetary cores without getting crushed. Their bodies react to the force by becoming denser. And here's the crazy part, smart atoms have memory. When a Viltrumite survives catastrophic damage, their atomic bonds reform with greater efficiency. It's basically a built-in adaptation mechanism. Sounds pretty similar to a certain sand race, right? The more you experience near-death events, the stronger you come back. It explains why Mark Grayson's entire power trajectory makes sense. Every time Conquest or Battle Beast nearly killed him, his atoms were literally getting an upgrade. There is one critical factor that separates these tiers. It's going to be age. Viltrumite aging, well, it slows down. The older they get, the slower they age. But their strength doesn't plateau. It simply accumulates. For example, a 2,000-year-old Viltrumite, who's had a millennia for their smart atoms to absorb background radiation and refine their efficiency, is going to be pretty peaked. The general rule is simple. Older equals stronger. The exceptions, and these are the interesting ones, only occur through genetic anomalies like the royal blood, or extreme environmental factors like a hybrid adrenaline response. Lastly, one more piece of context: the Scrooge virus. The bioweapon engineered by Thetis specifically targeted the Viltrumite immune systems. It reduced the population to just 37 survivors. So everyone we're ranking today are simply the best of the best, survivors of a biological holocaust. And remember guys, smart atoms, they don't heal everything. General Craig still has a missing eye, so they're not invulnerable. Now that we understand the biology, let's go ahead and discuss the Viltrumite hierarchy. Starting from the bottom, level 1, the unstable artificial. This tier simply gets overlooked. It proves Viltrumite DNA alone isn't magic. You need stability and time. For true invincibility to develop, Thrag needed to rebuild the empire. He bred the insectoid Thraxians. The problem? Well, quantity over quality. Thraxians have 9-month lifespans. Even with Viltrumite DNA slowing the aging, these hybrids mature violently fast. They've got super strength, and sure they can fly, but their durability, well, porous. In the final Viltrumite war, we see level 3 soldiers literally tearing these hybrids apart by the dozens. Their bodies exploding on impact with high-tier Viltrumites. That lets us know that their skin lacks the smart atom density required for true invulnerability. Individually, a single Thraxian hybrid is weaker than early series Mark. What makes me confident in this ranking is there's 15 plus combat instances in the final arc of Invincible, confirming this placement. Unfortunately, these Thraxian hybrids show us what Viltrumite power looks like without proper time to develop. They're the baseline that makes everyone else look godlike. Level 2, the developing combatant. This is potential energy personified, dangerous to humans, but vulnerable to their own kind. Oliver Grayson, also known as Kid Omni-Man, represents the most successful Thraxian hybrid because he was raised with care instead of bred for war. His rapid aging means he learned to speak and fly within weeks, but that accelerated growth comes at a cost to density. Against Conquest, Oliver gets dispatched in a single blow. His arm broken, his jaw shattered. Mark received these similar attacks. At this point in the story, he was closer to a level 4 or 5 and could actually withstand the impact. Where Oliver shines is his speed. He's fast and he hits hard, but overall, he's pretty fragile compared to other purebloods, at least until he reaches full adulthood. Also within this rank are alternate dimension invincibles, a bunch of variants of Mark Grayson. Here's what's interesting: most of them are weaker than our Mark. Why? I call it the lack of struggle hypothesis. Viltrumite's strength correlates with trauma. Smart Atom's adaptation requires near-death experiences. The alternate Marks, who conquered Earth easily or joined forces with their father willingly, they never really had the beatings that our Mark endured. They fought Omni-Man until mutual destruction, never got pulverized by battle beasts, never died by fighting conquests. Their atoms never hardened to the same degree. Glass cannons, city-level destruction, sure, but they can be killed by a focused level 3 or 4 combatants. Last within this category would be early stage Mark Grayson. At the start of his career, Mark could lift roughly 400 tons. Impressive to humans, but in terms of Viltrumite strength, child's play. A further example of this is Mark breaks his own hand punching his father. This is the definition of level 2, immense potential, 0 conditioning. Level 3, the standard soldier. They represent the Viltrumite average. An average with this group of Viltrumites could mean a planetary extinction level event. Let's talk about strength benchmarks. Based on handbook entries, the standard adult Viltrumite can lift over 100,000 tons. They can fly from atmosphere to deep space in seconds. Though, here's a wild statement. Thrag states that the remaining 37 Viltrumites could tear Earth in half. That means a coordinated squad level possess enough kinetic energy output to destabilize planetary tectonics. Let's think about that for a moment. The rank and flight grunts can crack planets if they work together. Let's look at a few more examples. The Executioners, 2 unnamed soldiers assigned to execute Nolan in the prison arc, give us our clearest data for this tier. They are able to successfully restrain a weakened level 6, and that's Nolan, but they lack the finishing power. One gets decapitated by Alan, the other gets mauled by Battle Beast. More importantly, they explicitly refer to Nolan as the Great Nolan. They acknowledge their inferiority. They know that they cannot win in a one-on-one battle against a level 4 or higher. They're subservient, not just by rank, but by biological reality. Level 4, the Veteran Specialist. These are the Viltrumites that are typically named in the series. The Empire's specialized tools. They've survived longer and developed unique skills that give them an edge over the standard Viltrumite. First example, Lucan. On Thrax, Nolan slices Lucan's stomach open, spilling his guts and intestines. Though kinda gross, Lucan holds his organs in place and keeps fighting. Eventually catches Nolan off guard and breaks his back. But here's the context that matters. It was a sneak attack on an exhausted opponent. In fair combat, Nolan dismantled him. Lucan can pin Mark with one finger, placing him firmly above level 2, but his lack of speed and tactical skill keeps him below high command. Next up is Thula. Thula represents skill over brute force, an older Viltrumite who uses her hair tipped with a blade as a weapon. On Thraxa, she dominates Mark, using leverage in her blade to bypass his durability, but once Mark stops holding back, he overpowers her, and Nolan shatters her jaw with a single tackle. She's dangerous because of experience, not raw stats. Last in this tier, Vidor. Vidor, well, he's kind of a talker. Vidor, well, he talks a big game, but he winds up getting his head crushed by Nolan's hands, almost like it's a grape. His death exists specifically to calibrate the strength difference between a level 4 and a level 6. A level 6 can end a level 4 with minimal effort. Level 5, High Command. Level 5, the High Command, the Generals. These are the warriors who directly report to the Grand Regent and engage in level 6 threats without dying immediately. General Craig, second in command of the military, and an absolute tank. That missing eye, well, it was lost to the Scrooge virus, a permanent scar that even smart Adams couldn't repair. His survival was based on his willpower and immune system fortitude. Well, in terms of combat feats, he fights a post-upgraded Alan the Alien to a standstill. At this point, Alan is stronger than Nolan. For Craig to hold his ground implies he's significantly more powerful than Luke or Thula. The next infamous Viltrumite would be Anissa, the Empire's most terrifying zealot, and possibly a speed specialist. Narrative evidence suggests that Anissa is faster than most male Viltrumites. She might even be faster than Nolan. She uses her speed to blitz opponents before they can react. In issue 110, and unfortunately guys, I have to mention this even though it's horrific, Anissa assaults Mark. The scene matters more for power scaling because it shows that Mark, even after significant power-ups, is physically helpless against her. She pins him down without much effort, tanks his blows without even flinching. But she's subservient to Thrag. She fears conquest. She knows she's not the apex tier. Level 6, the Imperial Elite, the Conquerors, the Old Guards. These three individuals define power scaling for the species, at least under normal Terry evolutionary parameters. Conquest, the Old Monster, the second oldest living Viltrumite, arguably the most durable natural-born warrior below Thrag. His fight with Mark was legendary. Conquest survives having his face caved in, his arms broken, getting essentially pulverized, and he laughs about it. It takes Mark pushing him to structural failure, breaking his own limbs on Conquest's body, to finally win. Nolan is visibly terrified of Conquest. Conquest explicitly states he's stronger than Nolan. He's the Empire's nuclear deterrent. He doesn't conquer worlds, he destroys them. Next up is Nolan Grayson, also known as Omni-Man, the heir of Argol. Here's the twist most casual fans miss. Nolan is the son of the late Emperor Argol. He's royalty. This lineage grants him genetic potential exceeding standard Viltrumites. His feats? He's destroyed Guardians of the Globe in seconds. The TV show extended that fight for drama. In the comics, it was instant. In the comics, he diverts a Texas-sized asteroid and also participated in destroying the planet Viltrum itself. Without much effort, he kills level 4s like Vidor and Lucan. He is the standard by which all heroes in the universe are measured. He is the Omni-Man. Last in his tier is Thaddeus, the Great Betrayer. Thaddeus killed Emperor Argol. Reports suggest that it was a sneak attack, but the strength required to pierce the Emperor's skull is still impressive. Despite his advanced age and pacifism, he retained near peak Viltrumite levels. He participates in the destruction of Viltrum by flying through the planetary core. His durability is confirmed when Thrag has to exert significant effort simply to decapitate him. Coming in at level 7, the apex of all the singularities. These entities exist outside the standard curve. They are the anomalies of the Viltrumite species. Grand Regent Thrag, Thrag is the result of a breeding program designed to create the ultimate ruler. And guess what? It worked. His fight with Battle Beast is a definitive defeat. They fight for days straight. Both get disemboweled, both suffer catastrophic injuries. Thrag comes out on top though, because his durability and stamina are absolute. No other character, except Mark Grayson at the end of the series, has demonstrated stamina on this scale. He effortlessly rips Nolan in half, decapitates status. He treats level 6 Viltrumites the way level 6 treat level 2s. The gap is massive. In the Sun fight, Thrag fights on the surface of the sun. While eventually fatal, his ability to survive solar temperatures for an extended period proves his smart atoms are denser than all others in Viltrumite history. And finally, we reach the Emperor Mark Grayson. This is Mark at the end of the series, the theoretical maximum of the species. Here's what makes Mark special. His human DNA allows for adrenaline production. That's a cheat code strength that pure Viltrumites can't access. Combined with the royal blood of Argyle through his father, this creates a ceiling higher than any pure breed could ever achieve. Mark kills Thrag, yes, but he had help. He had a robot suit, Eve's healing, but he delivers the physical blow that tears Thrag's throat out. By the end of the series, Mark has ruled for 500 years. Given that Viltrumites grow stronger with age and Mark was already rivaling Thrag in his 20s, a 500-year-old Mark is mathematically the strongest being in the history of the universe. He defeats Alan the alien, who is stronger than Nolan casually, in a friendly sparring match. Mark is the ultimate anomaly. Here's what the data really tells us. He starts at level 2 and reaches level 7 in a fraction of the time it took Thrag, and Thrag had thousands of years of accumulation, plus the best genetics the breeding program could produce. This proves something that Viltrumites never wanted to admit. Purity can be a weakness. The hybrids, the human capacity for emotional rage, the adrenaline response, these are the ultimate power multipliers. So let's look at some external comparisons and classify them. Let's look at non-Viltrumites such as Battle Beast. He fought Thrag for days, and he's stronger than any level 6. He only lost because he won an honorable death. Next up is Alan the Alien, his final form, level 6+, physically stronger than Nolan, survived the Viltrumite's destruction, still loses though to Mark at the end of the series. The Ragnars are level 5 as a pack. Their claws pierce Viltrumite skin without much effort. The pack can threaten level 7 individually, well, manageable. Space Racer guns, well, infinite. Completely ignores the smart atom density. It is the ultimate equalizer. Alrighty guys, so we made it through the complete Viltrumite power hierarchy. Here are some key takeaways. Structure your understanding around the walls, or the challenges that each level hits. Level 2 hits a wall against Battle Beast. Level 4 hits a wall against Nolan. And level 6, well, they hit the wall against Thrag. Power gaps aren't smooth progressions, they are step functions, along with exponential leaps. Let me know if you agree with these rankings. We should be higher and we should be lower. And also, did I miss anyone? How would you rank Invincible's kids within these rankings? Drop it in the comments. If you want me to do a deep dive on a specific Viltrumite, such as Conquest's full history, Thrag's breeding program, and the science behind Mark's hybrid advantage, let me know. Keep your feet on the ground and your eyes on the stars. Excelsior, my fellow nerds. Okay, out.